The southernmost tip of India, on an island so remote it takes 2 days to reach by sea, something extraordinary is happening. Bulldozers are moving through a rainforest that has existed for millions of years. Dredging equipment is being positioned in a bay where leatherback sea turtles, creatures that have swum the world's oceans for 100 million years, have nested every season since before humans existed. 1 million trees are scheduled to be felled. 130 square kilometers of prehistoric tropical rainforest will be cleared. And here is what no one tells you. 22 years ago, a tsunami wiped an entire community off this same island. The government never let them come back. Now, on that same empty land, India is building a port. This is the Great Nicobar Island Development Project. $11 billion. A port, an airport, a power plant, and a city. On an island that currently has a population of 8,500 people. Either India's most brilliant strategic move in a generation, or the most expensive ecological mistake it will ever make. Great Nicobar Island sits just 150 kilometers from the northern tip of Sumatra. Every ship traveling between the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea, every oil tanker, every container ship, every naval vessel passes within striking distance of its shores. For India, this location is an opportunity that has sat unused for decades. The Malacca Strait is China's most critical vulnerability. 80% of China's oil passes through it. China's entire export economy depends on it, and China does not control it. In a crisis, a war over Taiwan, a confrontation in the South China Sea, America or its allies could blockade Malacca, and China's economy would begin dying within 90 days. A fully operational Indian port at Great Nicobar, with naval facilities, surveillance infrastructure, and the ability to monitor every vessel transiting the strait, changes the military balance of the entire Indo-Pacific. India would not need to blockade Malacca to influence what passes through it. It would simply need to be there, watching, at the entrance. That is exactly what India is building. The project includes an international container transshipment terminal, a greenfield international airport, a gas and solar power plant, and a township accommodating up to 650,000 people. By 2047, Great Nicobar is expected to be a $30 billion sub-economy. The port is being built in phases. Phase 1 targets 4 million TEUs by 2028. By 2058, ultimate capacity reaches 16 million TEUs, nearly half of what Singapore handles today. The airport will enable cargo aircraft and military transport. The power plant will make the island self-sufficient. And beneath all of it, in the fine print most coverage ignores, are naval berths capable of handling India's largest warships and surveillance installations monitoring the strait. This is not just a port. It is a strategic military installation dressed in commercial clothing. But here is what it costs. More than 70 independent scientists issued an open letter in late 2025 describing the project as exploitative and destructive. 1 million trees will be felled. 130 square kilometers of ancient rainforest cleared. Galathea Bay, where the port will be built, is one of the most important leatherback turtle nesting sites in the northern Indian Ocean. These turtles have laid eggs on this beach for 100 million years. The bay also shelters coral reefs that scientists describe as irreplaceable. Dredging the floor will destroy both permanently. Once gone, neither the nesting beach nor the reef will recover on any human timescale. In 2024, 39 genocide experts warned the project would be the death knell for the Shampan, one of India's most isolated tribes, numbering fewer than 300. Human rights advocates warn that construction contact could expose them to diseases they have no immunity against. The government insists they will not be displaced and has re-notified 76 square kilometers of new tribal reserve land. Critics argue proximity of construction alone will destroy their way of life. But the most haunting story on this island is not about the turtles or the trees. Before December 26, 2004, a Nicobarese fishing community lived along Great Nicobar's western coast. Families had lived there for generations. The tsunami didn't care. Of the 250 Nicobarese on the west coast, only 9 survived. The government relocated survivors inland, told them it was for their safety. 22 years later, they have never been allowed to return. Their tribal chief Barnabas Manju says officials promised to help them go home. That never happened. Instead, officials asked him to sign a consent letter for the Great Nicobar Project. The coastline where those families once lived is being cleared for an international airport. India is building its future on land emptied by a tsunami and kept empty by policy. And the ground itself is not safe. In July 2025, a geologist warned that an ongoing cluster of earthquakes near the Nicobar Islands could signal a volcanic eruption in the Andaman Sea. On the day the 2004 tsunami struck, Great Nicobar's southern tip sank 15 feet into the ocean. That fault has never stopped being active. India is building an $11 billion port and a city of 650,000 people directly above it. For 4 years, environmental groups and indigenous rights organizations fought in court to stop this project. In February 2026, the National Green Tribunal dismissed all petitions and gave the project the green light, ruling that environmental clearances contained adequate safeguards. Appeals continue in higher courts, but construction tenders worth 41,000 crore rupees have already been finalized. The contracts are signed. The money is committed. The bulldozers are moving. India has made its decision. The question is no longer whether Great Nicobar will be developed. The question is what will be left when it is. On one side, a port that could reshape India's position in the Indo-Pacific, place Indian surveillance at the entrance of the world's most important shipping lane, and generate billions in trade revenue. A strategic asset China's naval planners will spend decades trying to counter. On the other side, 1 million trees, a species that survived 100 million years. A tribe of 300 people who asked for nothing. A bay above a fault line that could swallow everything India builds in a single afternoon. India's answer is the port. Whether history judges that as strategic genius or ecological tragedy will depend on what Great Nicobar looks like in 2047, and what it no longer has. The turtles are still coming back to nest. The Shampan are still watching from the forest. And somewhere in Port Blair, an old Nicobarese fisherman is still waiting for permission to go home. None of them will be waiting in 2047. The bulldozers are already moving.